Arkham Asylum, a notorious facility made to contain the most deranged of Gotham and a place which, every now and then, becomes a battleground of crazy. With Puri Puri Prisoner having recently been on the channel, it got me thinking, could he, one of the most controversial superheroes in fiction, fill the shoes of Batman and keep Arkham Asylum under control if things were to get out of hand the way they did in the highly acclaimed game Batman Arkham Asylum? Or perhaps the better question, would Arkham Asylum be able to keep the 10,000 year sentenced prisoner hero under control instead? For the concept of this video, we're going to use the version of Puri Puri Prisoner from One Punch Man prior to fighting Deep Sea King. This means he will be at his known weakest as an S-class hero to give the inmates of Arkham their best chance possible. I will also downplay Prisoner's speed somewhat, but not entirely, as to avoid saying he speed blitzes every fight with ease, since that would just be boring. Finally, I'm going to bless the Joker with some plot armor by saying that Puri Puri Prisoner would be, for whatever reason, unable to reach him before their final meeting, assuming Prisoner gets that far, as to avoid Prisoner ending the crazy night at the asylum early. And so, our night begins with Puri Puri Prisoner being transferred to Arkham. This mysterious and muscular hero who turned up in Gotham one day handed himself over to the authorities on the account of being unable to stop himself from harassing handsome men. And after some time spent dominating Gotham's jail community with hugs, kisses, and hip thrusts, the authorities couldn't contain the leaking controversy caused by Puri Puri Prisoner's deviant behavior any longer, and had him moved to Arkham Asylum so that he could no longer use the jail cells as brothel bedrooms. Around the same time, Batman was overseeing Joker's delivery to the asylum. However, the difference here is that Batman was called away on urgent Justice League business right before the Joker's plan all kicked off, thus leaving the fate of the asylum to the guards, staff, and one new inmate who was all too excited to be there. With chaos ensuing and the villains of Arkham now running amok, things are going better than they could have hoped for with no Batman. But will they enjoy the rest of the night with the eccentric powerhouse hero who has a 10,000 year prison sentence consisting of sexual assault charges? Sensing something is wrong by all of the alarms and panic, Prisoner breaks free from whatever restraints he allowed to contain him, which brings him to his first challenge, Victor Zsasz and the hostage. Batman chose to circle Zsasz from up high in the shadows. However, Prisoner is a little more direct in his approach. Likely leaping down in front of Zsasz, Prisoner would elegantly place a hand against his own chest with those intense eyes staring at the knife wielder while asking him with his feminine tone to be a darling and let the hostage go. Zsasz is crazy, but I think even he would be briefly surprised by what he was looking at and hearing. However, it's then that he would likely lash out and either reject the offer or attempt to murder the hostage, which would prompt Prisoner to burst forward with his rapid movement and catch Zsasz before he could succeed. Lifting him off the floor with his brutish strength and wrapping his arms around Zsasz's torso, Prisoner would bear hug the inmate into unconsciousness and permanent back problems until the guards could subdue the deranged killer. Noting all of the old scars on Zsasz's body, Prisoner remarks that when this is all said and done, he'll kiss all of those marks better. The night begins. Blasting through various walls and groups of rowdy inmates, it won't take long for Puri Puri Prisoner to finally meet the Joker. While he banked on having Batman to deal with for his entire affair, he's now aware that he's got a bigger, buffer, and quite frankly, more disturbing hero on his hands. The Joker would likely try to play some mind games with Prisoner with various verbal prods to see if anything trips. Yet Prisoner is a strange cookie to figure out, so it wouldn't be too long until the next test of the night comes into play, the Titan Henchman. It'd be at this point that the Joker would likely realize he'd have more fun with Batman. Prisoner would have no issue facing down a hulking brute when he's used to facing bigger, badder, and meaner monsters back in his home setting. Stronger than the Titan Henchman, every charge and brutish swing would be met with greater force from Puri Puri Prisoner, who would trade blow for blow with the monster while trying to pull his punches enough to not kill the man it once was. However, while the Titan Henchman would be put down by Prisoner, the effects of the drug would cause him to die, which Joker would no doubt use as a means to try and attack Prisoner's mental state. And yet it would not do much except to slightly irritate Prisoner. Despite his deviant nature, He is usually calm, composed, and realistic when it comes to heroic endeavors, not to mention all too familiar with all kinds of collateral damage as an S-class hero. So as the Joker escapes from view, for now, Prisoner is not deterred, nor will he be slowed down by any punches sustained from the Titan henchman. Before the Joker was able to retreat, Prisoner did warn him of one thing: he'd have a big kiss in store for him once caught. Continuing his journey within the asylum, Prisoner would be smashing through walls and beaming down hallways, which will make it easy for Scarecrow to catch him unawares in a trap with his fear gas. While Prisoner would be fast enough to not be caught by any of Scarecrow's attempts, we'll give Scarecrow a leg up and say he pulls it off anyway. Here's the interesting part though. I don't think fear gas could even do that much to Prisoner. This is a man who fights frightening monsters on a weekly basis as a hero, and who is a serial sex offender in his own time, with most of his victims being ruthless criminals. I don't know if there's anything this man fears in a traditional sense. At most, the fear toxin may show him some visions of his prison boyfriends being dead. However, we've seen how he reacts to his prison boyfriends being killed before, and all it seems to do is stir him up into an even more motivated state of mind. Whether or not Scarecrow intends it, Prisoner probably gets worked up into a flamboyant roar where he pulls off various bodybuilding poses. During this time, Scarecrow will slink away, wondering just what kind of freak that guy is, with Prisoner remarking that he'll find the trash bag wearing man who showed him such offensive images of his dead honeys. But now, it's time to save Commissioner Gordon. Harley Quinn has him hostage and is armed with an assault rifle to fend off anyone with ideas of saving him. So when Prisoner dashes into the room and kindly asks the clown lady to put the gun down, she'll understandably threaten to fill him with holes if he gets too close. Of course, what she doesn't know is that gunfire won't help her out much here. So as Prisoner steps forward and receives a bullet shower which ricochets off his tough body like rubber pellets, it'd be within an instant that he snatches the gun away from her and bends it into uselessness. Prisoner would then state that he has no interest in women, even pretty ones, but if there's any cute clown boy toys that she knows of in the circus, then to send them his way since he'd love to have a boyfriend who can make him laugh. Harley, stunned, takes the opportunity to run off while Prisoner frees Gordon, who is confused as to why a man in a prison outfit is helping out with the asylum situation, but he'll take all the help he can get anyway. And while warning Prisoner that letting Harley go was a mistake, there's not much to do about it now. However, someone who packs much more of a punch than Harley is up next. Bane, loaded with venom, will be Prisoner's next test in the asylum. Prisoner would likely wonder if he's dealing with a man or a monster, judging by how freakishly Bane's appearance straddles the middle ground between when powered by that substance. And while Prisoner would be far too fast for Bane, he'll likely take his punches all the same to show his heroic determination in a powerful exchanging of blows. With Prisoner being powerful enough to charge through solid, thick blocks of steel walls, every punch he throws at Bane will be one that the masked man will hope to never feel again. However hard Bane punches Prisoner, the S-Class hero will bear it and strike back even harder, more than capable of putting Bane out clean with no more than a few punches that he'd be holding back with, so not as to kill the masked man. With Bane down and out, Prisoner will place a kiss upon his cheek and promise to get a good look at his face with that mask off when this whole situation clears up. And if he's as handsome as Prisoner hopes, he'll be sure to replace all of that horrible venom coursing through his body with some fresh, warm angel shots instead. Scarecrow Part 2 is up next, but this time, it's a lot more simple. Regardless of whatever tricks he will try, Prisoner is now aware that he doesn't want to experience any weird hallucinations of his dead honeys anymore, and because of this, he'll instantly be all up in Scarecrow's grill the moment he sees him. Whether it's a straight up dash to him, or if it requires him literally bursting through walls to get his hands on him, Scarecrow will be immediately captured and put down with a stern fisting. The punching kind, which takes Scarecrow out of the game for tonight's fun. It's then when Prisoner reveals that he understands Scarecrow's true motivation behind those hallucinations. Prisoner believes that he showed him all of those visions of his dead prison boyfriends because Scarecrow wants to have him all for himself. Flattered, Prisoner promises that Scarecrow will spend many nights alone with him in the asylum in the future, and that he'll have his undivided attention. Harley gets her own sequel in the same evening too, running into her again as she seems to have yet another hostage, this time with a group of clown-faced goons for backup. Prisoner can't help but feel thankful that she listened to his request and brought some dates for him this time, Unfortunately, he realizes these blind dates are a bit naughty and need some discipline first. Puri Puri defeats all of the goons in quick time, with Harley being restrained this go around, since none of these are fast, strong, or well, anything enough to deal with Prisoner. Saving the hostage, tying up Harley and the boys, it's on to the next challenge. Or underneath it rather, since Prisoner must now navigate under the grounds to where a certain crocodile lies in wait. Killer Croc. Getting the jump on Prisoner with a dangerous bite to the side of the neck, Prisoner is surprised. He didn't know that monsters could find him so attractive that they'd go so far as to give him a hickey. With an appreciative glimmer in his eyes, Prisoner turns around while Killer Croc is stunned that his bite seems to have only drawn a bit of blood at best, even as he continues trying to sink his teeth into the inmate's hero. Pushing him into the water, Prisoner overpowers Killer Croc and soon has him flailing and splashing, trying to escape the waters while Prisoner shouts phrases such as Angel Stroke and Angel Dive. After some time passes, Killer Croc is found later on that evening unconscious within the sewers. No one knows the exact details of what may have happened. Refreshed and damp after his exploits down in the sewers, Prisoner arrives at his biggest test yet, Poison Ivy. Having been released somehow throughout all of these altered events from the original storyline, her empowered self now has control over large plants within the facility. While her feminine attractions and scent may be stunning for most men, Prisoner is not most men. No, what he's interested in is most men, but he certainly is no ordinary opponent for Ivy. Those powerful vines would no doubt latch onto Prisoner and take him for a ride, slamming and tossing him around the place, earning many tears on his prison outfit and perhaps even stunning him momentarily here and there from the sheer weight and impact the plants can amass. However, after several warnings, Prisoner will soon show Ivy that he too can go to the next level, with Angel style. Leaping high into the air and shedding all of his clothes, Ivy would look up in astonishment at the hulking body of Prisoner, butt naked, before a torrent of powerful punches while he shouts Angel Rush decimates all of her vines and leaves her ready to be taken into custody. While those plants proved restrictive and even formidable, once Prisoner let loose, they were not able to withstand his brute force, terrifying speed, or energized pressure. Now, only one remains, the Joker himself. And as Prisoner approaches the rooftop, the Joker has only one question he can ask Puri Puri at this very moment while Gordon is held captive nearby. Why are you naked? Prisoner will pose and pout with a charming wink and ask him, why? Do you like what you see? After some back and forth, Prisoner vows to save Gordon and bring order back to the asylum to make up for his own crimes. And as the Joker turns into the Titan version of himself, ready to show the world his newfound strength, it instead will be the moment he has a rude awakening. While he may be stronger, matching Prisoner in brute force is impossible unless you are stronger than he is, and stronger than Prisoner, he is not. So as the Joker jumps down and begins the electrocution of Gordon, the risk of the Commissioner dying would ensure Prisoner takes it seriously, thus delivering a brutally efficient combination of strikes, the Angel Rush, which stuns, rocks, and totally KOs the Joker. Unfortunately, he had planned for a night of Batman, and his plans did not translate to dealing with an S-class hero known for his raw power. With Gordon saved and the Joker down, Puri Puri Prisoner stood, completely naked, beside a somewhat uncomfortable Gordon, placing his hand against his own chest with the other hand gripping the wrist of the Joker, who was slumped on the floor behind. And with that polite, feminine tone, Prisoner requested one thing: to be allowed a few months of sharing the same cell with the Joker so that he could help rehabilitate him. Gordon told him that no therapy or treatment has ever seemed to stop the Joker's criminal ways. Puri Puri Prisoner cocked his head and winked, then said, "Don't worry, I have a way of handling bad boys." And thus, sometime after, Arkham Asylum was kept under control with no emergency breakouts for the longest record time in Gotham's history. It had seemed Puri Puri Prisoner was just the right man Gotham really needed to help lower the rate of crime. Like, subscribe, and for the love of God, stay out of Arkham Asylum.